Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike here and I'm back and bringing you another tutorial about converting our design into a static HTML and CSS. So in this tutorial, based in our design on the previous tutorials, we are going to convert this one. But we will not doing it from scratch. We will be using a framework called Twitter Bootstrap or Bootstrap. So go ahead and search for Twitter Bootstrap and click on the first link and it will take you to this same page right here. So what basically we're doing here is to use this framework to make our coding or the front-end development more faster so that we will not be coding it from ground up. So what we need to learn from this one is just the basic one. So if you have a knowledge of CSS and HTML, you can follow through on this tutorial. So on Get Started tab, here what we can see here is just a simple file structure as usual. On the CSS folder, we just need the bootstrap.css, and bootstrap.css is the minified version. And since that we will not be using any JS, we will not be using this one. And for the image folder, they provided a glyphicon icons, which you can see on the base CSS icons. So we are free to use this icon sets right here. So take a look back right here. So the HTML structure is basically the same, but they provided some classes like here are the examples. We click on this one, we can see right here, if we inspect element, like on this here on the banner part, they have a class of hero unit, and on the top part they have enough nav bar for the navigation. But we will not get into it first. Let's take a look at the important thing, which is the grid system. So basically the grid system is the same as 960.js if you have familiar with that. Instead of calling it grid, they call it span. So for 1 2 3 4 right here, these 4 columns, you can call it span 4. If you want a 1 column, you can call it span 1. So from 1 to 12. So span 1 to 12. And for a container, you need to wrap it up in every column or row you will add it. You will do it like this way. For example, we'll save this. For example, index.html, begin. So for example, if we are going to create a 2 columns, we just need to wrap it up in a container and in order to make the column work, we need to wrap it in a row. So what basically container do is to set this as the main container equal to 960 or whatever they set it. So for the row in here, we can add the class of span, so 12 columns, so span 6. So for 2 column, first column, this is the second column. So it's clearly understood that this container has a row, first row, and inside the row there is 2 columns. And if we're going to add another row, you can put it this way. Another, for example, we have 3 columns on the second row. So change this, the span class to span 4. So if we're going to run this on a browser, this will have 2 rows, and each row will have 2 rows on the first one, and the second one has third column. So but before we preview it, we need to download the Bootstrap. So since that we're not using jQuery, we will hide this one, and for the components we will just use the scaffolding, which is the grid system, layouts, body types and links, normalize and reset, and base CSS. So we can uncheck this one. We need the nav bar, the hero unit, and then we don't need tables, we don't need forms. Let's see our design. We don't have any form, so labels and badges, code pre. So for responsive part, we can include it so that on the later video we can turn it into a responsive one. Well, so we don't need it. Close icons, component utilities. So this one in scaffolding, check all, base CSS only headings, buttons, icons. In components, only nav bar, hero unit, miscellaneous utilities and components animation. For responsive part, we can check it all, and lastly we can download it. So I will bring this into my desktop and create a new folder, call it dip. You can close this first and drag it over there. Index, extract the Bootstrap file, and copy this one into our dip folder, and create another file and name it style.css so that we can override what is the styling on bootstrap.css on the CSS folder. So that's basically it for the files, and then we will bring it over right here, drag it on the projects folder, hit OK and open up index and style.css. We need to link the CSS file that we've created. So style.css, your site will be div, and here is what we've created. So div class with a container, and in a container there is a 2 rows. First one has first and second column. The second one will be has third column grid. So let's preview it into a browser. As you can see right here that they have first column, second, and the second row there is 3 columns. So in order to see it, so for each row, that row we will name it, or add a background of red, and for the span 6, that span 6 background black, for span 4 background yellow. So as you can see right here, we have 1 2 3 column, 1 2 column. So yeah, that's it. We can delete it now, and let's try to convert what we have here. So let's start by importing the image that we will be using. First one is the logo. So select the logo by hitting Control and click to select the layer. And what I can do is to Control Alt E on the keyboard. So from the logo, create a new layer. Select both layer and the logo and Control Alt E to merge it. Then select all. As you can see, I'm selecting all. And then Control X to cut it. Hit File, New. Photoshop will automatically recognize what are the dimensions, so hit OK and Control V to paste it. Make sure you hide the background and save this as .png. Hit save. Place it into the image folder and name this brand.png. Close it now. And the second one is, so here we don't need an image, we can install it using CSS. Here also for the button, we can install it using CSS. So we need to cut this browser. We need this browser. So browser. So just Control Alt E while selecting the folder, Control Alt E to merge it. And we have a exact copy of that browser. Hide the background and make sure that it's placed right there, and image trim to cut the transparency like that. Save it And for this one, we will name it browser.png. Next will be this one. They plan, design, develop, and launch. So what actually we can do here to cut this one is to do like this. Above it, show the the guides, and then use elliptical marquee tool. While holding shift and dragging until you will reach this guide, the width will be 100 pixels by 100. Release the shift and the mouse, and what you can do here is you can move it using the arrow keys. So just move it until you have the exact selection. So right there is good, and what you need to do now is to Control Shift C to copy it. We're going to go to Edit, Copy Merge. So Shift Control C. You can do it as well, and then create a new file, paste it over there, hide the background. We will not save this one first because we need to copy first the other 3 icons to make this a sprite image. So let's go ahead to the next icon, which is design, and move it there. Zoom in to have a clear vision of our selection. Right there is good. Shift Control C again. Control Alt C to change the canvas size, or you can go to image and canvas size. Check this relative and check this left arrow. And for the width, let's add another 100 since the width is 100, and paste it right there. Select all, use Move tool, and bring it to the right edges. Do the same for the remaining icons, so I will just move faster here so that it will be not time consuming. So select this one, Control C, V, 100, bring it there. Do the same. Zoom in, Control C, Control V, 100, bring it to the right edges, and we can save this now as let's name it process sprite.png. Can close this now, and let's take a look at what are the remaining images. We can do this, read more. We can do this on CSS. So this sample image right here, we can do it. So go ahead and cut this one. So select the layer, Control click to make a selection, Control Shift C again to copy it, new layer, paste it right there, save. We will create a new folder and name this thumbnail. Inside the thumbnail, we will create, or we will name this as thumb 1. For the other one, you can do the same. You can name this one thumb 2. Next one will obviously thumb 3. Let's see what else. So for this graphic river theme forest active, then we can name this one as main. So I merge it right here. So what we can do is Control cut, file new, change the opacity to 50%. You can name it as partner 1. Do the same for the remaining partners. Change it to 50%. Partner 2. Do the same for this. Partner 3. And last one. Partner 4. So this one as well. Just small thumb 1. And then small thumb 2. And for this one, this Facebook and Twitter. So let's just make this 16 by 16 and place it on the center. So to show you what's happening there is basically we centered it out and has an equal width and height of 16, so that we can do the same for Facebook. So 16, cut it out, new layer, Control E to merge it, and cut it, paste it right there. And for this one, for Facebook, we can align it on the center as well. So let's save it and name this Social Sprite. So what are we missed? The background itself. So cut this out, Control select to the layer to have a selection, and then Control C wait, Control C, Control, merge this first, and then Control cut it, paste it on this one. Let's see. We did it wrong. What's happening there? What we can do is to Control transform, merged it again, file new, and save this as JPEG. The quality is 80, will be good. Save this, and we will name this one as hero unit.jpg. So I think we don't miss anything, and we actually export the images. So the next thing we need to do, since we have it, is we can mark up the HTML. So let's test it if the styles are working. So body, background, red. If we done it correctly. So here it's working. So we can start marking up the HTML. So in the body tag inside it, let's start marking up. So in here we can do is make this as a hero unit, since as you can see right here, actually in this example they are using carousel since they want to move the things, the images move, as well as the content. But as what I'm telling you, we will be focusing only on marking it up as a static one without any jQuery or something else. So what we are focusing is to mark up the HTML properly and style the elements. So if you have the basic knowledge of CSS and HTML, we can do this easily. So and for this example, as you can see in this right here, they are using a class of hero unit. So we can use the class of hero unit to wrap this up, and we can actually place the navigation inside the hero unit, and as well as the content. So let's do it. So what we can do is, first we need to create a div with a class of hero unit. Make sure you end and comment out the closing div and hero unit. Next is to add a container to make the content on the center of the page. So div class container, and this is a hero unit. Let's see what we have here. So as you can see, they have this styling of the hero unit. If we will make this H1, as you can see right there, that this is the hero unit part. So we're good. And the next is to add the nav bar based on the Bootstrap markup. So you can actually go to their documentation by going to the base CSS. If you're going to to the components and navbar, they have this markup, but we don't just copy it and paste it to our text editor. We need to type it so that we will get used to it, and with that we can easily remember the markup of this framework. So first one, since I've been doing this, first is we need to add a class of div with a class of navbar, and inside it, make sure to comment it first, and navbar. Inside it, we need to have a div with a class of navbar inner, and inside that inner div we have our list. So ul with a class of nav, we need to put this one nav, or we can actually use HTML5 for this one by using nav, and inside is our list items. So here are the list, and the first link will be home. You can actually copy this. Home about us services blog. Home about us services blog, and contact us. And to make it as a active state, we just need to add a class on the list item active. And that's it for the navbar. And for the content itself, we will create another div outside this navbar right here. So we're going to place it under it. So let's just name it div with a class of hero unit inner. So this content right here will go there. So this will be an H1, maybe this is an H4 or H5, and a button, and learn more link. So first one is to have an H1. Copy this one. Second one, let's try H4 or H5. Then copy this. Next one, we need to add the buttons. So in order to create a button, just create an anchor tag and put it a class of button. Make this get started, And for the link itself, just create an empty link and learn more. Let's preview this one. So as you can see, we have this, and this. And in Bootstrap, they have a special class to make the text center. So just place a text center class. So what we can do here is on this hero unit inner, we can put a class of text center. So inside this div, everything will be text center. Let's preview it. So as you can see, it's centered. And also here, actually, we will pull this nav to the right. So class, Bootstrap has this class named to pull the elements to the right, pull right. And for pull and to the left, just name it pull left. And outside this nav inner, we will be adding our logo. So see, as you can see, the nav here is pulled to the right and the logo is on the left. So what we can do here is just add a link, and Bootstrap also has this class called brand for the logo itself. So for example, if we're going to place dip there, as you can see, we have this one, navigation on the right, logo on the left. So class brand dip, we done it right. So what else? Let's see. I think we need to place this on the inner nav, because as you can see right here, there is no padding. You place it right there. Let's preview this, and yeah, that is correct. So basically, we're almost done on this section for the HTML markup. And for the image itself, I think we will be using that as a background on the CSS part, and also for the background of this one. But the markup of this one is already set, I think. Let's move on to the next one. Or maybe we can actually add the image. So on this hero unit right here, we can place the image. So what is the name of the image? We call it browser, I think. Browser. Yep, browser.png, browser.png. Close this, delete that, and let's see. Oh, it's there. It's looking good. It's in place. Oh yeah. let's proceed to the next one. So, and hero unit, create another div. Create another div for this one, and we will name this as process. So div with an class or ID of process. Just make it as an ID since this will be the only one using it. So ID process. Inside the ID, create a new div with a class of container to center it out. Give a class of row to create a row, and inside the row we need 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 columns. So since 12 divided by 4 is 3, we need to, am I right? 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 3. So div with a class of span 3. Column 1, column 1. Column 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. And process. So we have column 1, 2, 3, 4. That is right. And for each column, we need to create a class for each one. So give class of plan. For this one, I will just fill it with this into h2 plan. Copy the text. This one, place it there. Bring it over here. And let's create a button. So what we can do is class button read more. Let's see. Yup. What we can actually do is make the button large on the hero unit part. So get started, button large. And also we can change the button to primary, so that since it is unique right here, that it has a color red, and for the normal buttons we'll have this color. So if you look at here, buttons, they have this button primary. The default one is button only. So let's just use it. Let's see. So we have it right, button primary, and for this is normal one, only have white one. So continue. Can actually do is add a class of text center to center it out, and for the icon itself we will just wrap it in a span with a class of, let's see, let's name this process icon. So the process icon will contain these sprite images, since they have different image for each process icon. We will create another class of icon plan, and let's leave it a blank. So and NBSP to add a blank space, and then it's good to go. Let's make this design. I design, do the same here. Process, develop, I develop, design, plan, develop, and lastly launch, I launch. Rename this as well, launch, develop, design, plan, design. Preview it. So for now, let's leave it blank on the CSS part. We will adding that icon. So yeah, that's basically it for this part. So let's move to the portfolio part. So the same structure again, just need to create a div with an ID of portfolio, div with a class of container, div with a class of row, and portfolio. And inside this row we have the same structure. So let's go ahead. So div with a class of span 3, for the first span. What we can do is so H3 to have I'm thinking they have the same plan and portfolio heading size. What we can actually check, so if it's H2 31 and H3 will be 24, I think 24 to 23, and for H4 will be 18 or 17. So let's make everything H4, 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 H4. So portfolio text, copy the text and a link. So basically, what the browser I'm using is InType. So this is my browser. If you can see the old tutorials of me, I've introduced this browser, which is InType, which is it's free on Windows. So target, can delete that. Our portfolio. for this one. So this image plus this text. So what we can do is to wrap it up in a div, and then we just put the image and this text. So 14, this will be h5. First web designer. And for this one, we can just make this small. And with a class of category on web design. And let's bring up the image, thumbnail. As far as you remember, we've placed it on the images folder, thumbnail. And for this one, we just name this thumb1. Thumbnail, thumb1.png. Do this, copy this, place it right there. Thumb2. And RV, huh, what a cute name. Web design, thumb3. Now lab zip. Let's just change this to logo design. As far as I remember, web design, logo design. Yep, that's it. Let's see. And each div, I put a class of text center. Class text center. Just copy it. And as you can see right here, we have this border frame. What we can do is on Bootstrap, they have this image right here, image Polaroid. So we can do it by adding a class of image Polaroid. Do it the same. Preview this, and boom, it's there. So art portfolio is in place, everything is in place. So next one will be the partners section. So div id partners, do the same, div class container, div class of row, and so again it has a 4 columns. Or what we can actually do is to do this. We can do it this way: image, thumbnail, and we name it as partner1.png. Can copy this one, repeat it to 4 times. So in each row we will have a div class of span12 and make this text center, something like that. As you can see, it's there. We can just add a margin to the left, or I mean right, to make it happen. Or what you can do is to do this. The other thing you can do is you can create a div with a class of span3 and make it text center, so that on the CSS part, we will not be adding that margin. So by doing so, like this one, and just make this 4, 3, 2, we have a nicely centered partners right there. So this is the end of partners and partners. Now we can do is to mark up the footer section or the widget section. So div with an ID of widgets. Widgets. Close the widgets and widgets. Do it again, class container. So as you can see, when you type it, it's more easier to remember and you're getting familiar with it. So div with a class of row, and the framework is very easy to use, and there are really tons of helpful classes to make the development more faster. And with this, as you can see, you have a clear vision of what you're coding, which is exactly the structure is the same with this one. So do it the same as well. Div with a class of span free, and inside this span we will create class of testimonials, blog, latest tweets. So testimonials, and inside the testimonials there will be an image, thumbnail, if you can remember, thumbnail, we name it small thumb, small thumb.png, small thumb one.png, and there will be a block code and a paragraph. So if you can remember, block code is for codes, and inside the black code, this one will be a site. So 9gag, so br to put the link here. What will be the link is 9gag.com. So that's it. Let's see. What we can actually do is to have a class of pull right. Oops. The image itself should be pull left. So yeah, we can style this out to align this right here by just applying an overflow hidden. We'll fix that. So testimonials and testimonials. Next part will be blog, small thumb, not needing that, we don't need that, and blog. What we'll be needing is to, actually we forgot in h4, testimonials. Yep. H4 latest, our latest post. Do the same. Tweets, and we can create and give it a class of post list. Or let's see, blog list, or can actually create an article for that so that it makes sense. Article, or let's just do it div. Then inside it there will be a list, so or we can just change this to UL, and there will be a list of posts. Makes sense. So just a title. Let's make this H4, so it's lower than H4, so let's make this H5, and is it right there, and each title will be a link, so a ref, there will be a meta. What we can do is make this small, posted by href admin. Duplicate this 3 times, then just change this to 3, 2, and I think it's good. Yup. Oops, I think we did it wrong. Container, that's it. And this span is wrong. We need to make this span 4. Yep, that's good. So latest tweets, or latest tweets. And then on latest tweets will be have the same one, UL, name this tweet lists, same as this one. There will be an li tag plus the image and then the text. So it's just a simple image with the right path, image, thumbnail, small thumb 1.png, or thumb 2 for my picture right here, thumb 2, and there will be a paragraph with a link. So href, duplicate this 2 times, make this one to change the thumbnail, and erase this width and height. Something like that will do. And lastly, the footer can actually do is widgets and widgets there, and let's create a footer. So footer, what will be inside the footer? Why is it that I can't type it correctly? Footer. Inside it will be a class of container, div with a class of row, and inside that row there will be a link and the social icons. So what we can do is row div class of, or we can do it like this one, div with a class of, or make this as ul class of footer links. That footer links will be this one, home, about us, services, blog. So home, need to have an anchor. Home, about us, services, blog, contact us. Div with a class of span 12. Make this text center. Next will be another div. This will be for the social icons. So a let's add a class of Twitter, button Twitter, follow us on Twitter. The other one is like us on Facebook. So Facebook, and inside it, let's create a span for the icons. So as we name it, and NBSP class social sprite, then make this Twitter. So the icons we've created, that we name it social sprite .png, will go here. So Facebook That will be good. And lastly is the copyright. So it's just a small with an anchor tag, and this will be dip, and this one, and copy dip 2013. Let's see how it looks like. So Twitter dip, so what we can actually do right here on the links, we need to wrap it in a div. Or we can wrap it in a nav. With a class of table. I will explain later on why we need to wrap it with another div or this nav tag in order to center this UL to the whole layout. But for now, the mock-up is correct as far as I can see it. Let's review this one. So for dip, right here, starting from the top, we have the logo, the navigation bar, the heading, the call to action, get started, learn more, the browser itself. And for this one, plan, design, develop, launch on the process section. And for this section, we have portfolio, which is right as well, as you can see, the partners, the widget section, it's correctly marked up, and for the footer one, the navigation, the button, and the copyright. What we can actually do is to make this section 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 section, and then as well as that one. So we've done it right. So on the next part, we will be styling this out using CSS. So by the using of this style, we will overwrite the styling of this one to match with our own styles. So I hope you find this useful and easy to follow using the Bootstrap. So if you just have the knowledge of basic CSS and HTML, you can follow through. And it's very easy to use for faster development. You don't need to code this from the ground up. So what you need to do is just to call the right classes Bootstrap has provided. So on the next one, I'm going to show you how to style it, so make sure to watch it. So I'll see you guys on the next one.